Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Crystal, and you're just chilling with JK. We are a married couple
with 3 beautiful kids
from Brooklyn, New York. Come chill as we discuss
whatever the we want. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are so happy to be here.
Yes.
And to have you joining us.
Mm-hmm. Today we're talking about...
Yes, we're just going to get straight into it because I am exhausted. And I'm on a high of sweets because I just made some yummy chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
But I overate.
I'm surprised you're even talking about it.
I overate. And I don't usually eat that much sweets. And this late, it's now 12:47 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like I'm crashing.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, Jeffrey and I always have these type of conversations like we told you guys, which is why we came up with Just Chilling with JK, because it's like, we just talking with our friends, But anyway, so this is more, what's so funny?
This girl over here, hi.
I'm like very tired, but like I have all this jittery feeling, I really know my body. So it's like, I just feel like the jitters is just like everywhere. So anyway.
Go ahead. Yes. Bring the energy tonight. Yes.
So Jeffrey and I always have these conversations about like being a Black business, right? We own our own business called Lasting Ever After, where we sell sustainable items. And before that, like, we did our own thing. So like Jeffrey had his own t-shirt brand and I had my own website with my custom stuff that you can order and stuff that I made. But, every now and then we come to terms with like potential things that we would want to sell in our shop and stuff like that. So like, for example, being a Black owned business at the time, right? We started like 2010,
yes.
right? As a small business with all of our different ideas until we came together in 2017. But before, like being a Black owned business wasn't really like a thing to be said.
Yes.
Like often and all the time. So for us,
it wasn't highlighted at all.
Yeah. So for us right now, being so deep into this, right, lifestyle, there's like certain things or qualities that we feel are important, right, for us to uphold in our business. And I guess this could be just like normal business practices that people should follow. However, with the internet and social media and just like the hype of becoming an entrepreneur, right, we see like people like selling things, right? And this is no shade to anyone. Like, even if you're listening and you do these practices, like, it's not shade to you specifically, but just in general, right? We're just looking at the bigger picture. So, like...
And we're just bringing it to light.
Yeah.
And you make your adjustments as you should.
As you see fit.
Yeah.
You may think like, well, I don't care, and that's on you for us. But for us, like, this is just our thoughts that we always have. And so... like one of the conversations would be like, okay, for example, 2016, I was pregnant with Millie and we wanted to do like for our gift baskets, like make things that are like from our hearts. So for like our gifts to, everyone who's coming to the baby shower. So we wanted to make like soaps and like scrubs and stuff like that. And we saw how much work goes into it and like what you have to do like in terms of like making the soap and making the scrub and the ingredients you need and stuff like that. And for us, we wanted like quality material, quality ingredients, but also like at the time we lived in our apartment and it was really small. So we had to use like, the different bowls that we had, but like you have to rinse it out and do certain things, certain sanitary things, right? And if you already know like the practices of making body scrubs and stuff like that, then cool. But we're like giving you details for people who would necessarily not know.
Correct.
So after we did all of that, we were like, wow, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of energy. And for me, I just felt like our kitchen is too small to do this amount of work for what we want to do in our shop, right? So maybe it would be best to outsource. And I think that's one of the good qualities that you should have, is knowing what you need to outsource. And I was like, honestly, like, I love doing this for our family.
Yes.
Like, making our little scrubs for us.
Yeah.
But to sell, like, I don't think I'm passionate for it.
And
What?
it's time consuming, and we didn't have the space for it.
Yes. And so I was like, I think this is something that I would want to outsource, but I definitely do want to sell it because it's just part of our lifestyle. We buy natural soaps. We use natural scrubs on our body and stuff like that. So for us, it was like, no, we're not going to do it on our own, but in the future, that's something that we want to potentially invest in to have into our store. So that's like one of the things, right? Sanitary. At what point do you realize like this can no longer be like a business in your home, right? Are we taking the proper precautions for people who are going to use this product?
And are you staying truthful?
Yeah, and are you staying truthful? And like,
audience?
Honestly, yes, it is nice to start off somewhere, but eventually when you're making the big funds where you can invest in your business to have like a manufacturer or like a specific space that is like more sterile for you to make your products, will you invest in that to move up, right? Or would you just use your profits to just
buy a Birkin,
or
Louis
buy a
Vuitton.
Chanel, or Louis Vuitton? Or would you like go buy luxury cars, right? Or would you just put back into your business so you can keep giving your customers quality, right?
Yeah, just scaling the business.
Yes, scaling the business. That's the key word. And then also just like another example, just to move away from like body products, right? Let's go into maybe clothes, right? Like, do you just pull images from the internet and say, okay, I'm just going to fix this up, redesign it, and then make it into a t-shirt, right? But truthfully for me, like, I don't feel like a t-shirt designer is a fashion designer. I just think they're just more of a graphic artist that wants to show their artwork on t-shirts, right?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense because a fashion designer
creates, right?
Yeah, not saying that you can't go from a t-shirt design
to a fashion designer, because you could always go back to school and learn the trade. But
or as your success grows, you learn a new way of creating certain things, or you learn how to sew and all of that stuff to put do alterations and all of that stuff and add to your your skill set.
Right.
Or whatnot. I can see that transitioning happening.
Of course.
But, yeah.
But if you're just a person that's making a graphic and then putting it on a t-shirt, like me personally, I don't think that's a fashion designer. Yeah, I've never called you a fashion designer.
Yeah, I'm not a designer.
I've always called you a creative or an artist, right? So for me now, like just seeing that, I'm always talking to Jeffrey like, how is this possible? Like, how can you, like, I know copyright laws because I'm always interested in knowing, like, can I copyright my artwork? Is this artwork copyrightable, or should I trademark it and stuff like that? So I've always been doing research on that. And I'll say, Jeffrey, no, I can't release this yet because I feel like I should get this copyrighted. I'm looking at that.
Yeah, I know.
And so I'm just like, that's not ethical, right? Because you're technically using an artist's work, whether it's a photograph or like a symbol, and then you're pulling it from the internet and then you're twisting it around.
And profiting it.
Yeah, and then you're putting it on a t-shirt and then you're profiting from it. But did you get the rights for this image? Are you
paying the artist?
Right. Are you paying the artist? What is it called? Like royalties? So like for me, right, being an artist, right, being a person that draws, being a person that is a fashion designer as well, right? like for me, I'm always asking these questions, right? And it's not really to like get the person in trouble. It's not like I'm going out there and being like, hey, you didn't do this and this and this and doing the research.
We're not policing anything.
We're not policing, but we have these conversations about, is that okay? Like, why do they think that's okay? Like, that is someone's work that they're taking and manipulating to be theirs and then making something from it. That's not okay. That's not morally okay. And so I'm wondering, like, do you think people ever ask these questions, or do you think that they realize what they're doing and they're just saying, like, F it, like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway because I need to make this money. I need to make this bread. I need to move up to the next level. I need to get this Birkin. I need to get this luxury car or this mansion or whatever, And so...
And deal with the consequences
after.
Later. Yeah.
But for me, like, I'm a person... Sorry, I'm moving a lot because my foot fell asleep. Sorry, guys.
We don't have the studio yet.
Oops. I'm a person that is always asking these questions because for me, I'm a person that likes to follow rules. I'm a person that don't like to get in trouble. I'm a person that don't want to pay a fine for doing something that I knew was wrong. And you know what I mean? So for me, I ask these questions because I'm like, dang, people are just gangster. Like, they just don't care, right?
Yep.
And so now, even going a step further, right? So now you've made this profit, you've made this goal of, let's say, becoming a millionaire by doing all these things, right? But then you're not scaling your business. You're not like hiring a graphic designer now to say, look, this is my idea. And I'm paying you as a graphic designer to make this graphic so I can put it on my shirt now, right? That technically would be scaling instead of pulling images from the internet, right?
Correct.
Or like getting a manufacturer to make your scrubs and your body butters and whatever, right?
Correct.
Are you using that profit to scale your business, or are you just like, well, I made $1 million, boom, I made $1 million, and now I'm going to buy my house. I'm going to do this and my business. Okay, now I'm going to put up on my website more items for sale so I can make the next million, right? And still not invest into my business, right? And so for me now, it even goes further. Like, once you make that million, what are you also thinking about? Are you thinking about if you're a Black business? The whole point of this is being a Black business, right? So are you now putting back to your community? Are you investing in your community? Like, what do we as Black people, and if you're a Black person listening, do you expect a Black business to reinvest into that community, into the Black community, right? Because once you label yourself a Black business, even if your target market is not a Black business, Black customers, right? Even if it's, let's say, a different culture or ethnicities, but you're labeling yourself a Black business. Do you, right? And anyone, please answer this question. You can answer it on our Instagram, just chilling with JK, or you can answer it. I'm going to make a poll. You can answer it. Do you think, or do you feel, or I guess, what are your thoughts on what a Black business what standard should a Black business be held to, right? First of all, you're claiming you're a Black business, right? For me, it should be at least 50% Black owned, right?
Correct.
How are you using your profits? Who are you directing your product to? And what should you be responsible for socially, right? Like, I know my answers, but what's your answer? Because I feel like I'm talking a lot.
No, because I'm listening. But I would say, like, being a Black-owned business myself, I would be okay if they, held me accountable for certain things. But at the same time, not all of us are holding these white-owned companies accountable for what they're doing in our communities too. So who am I to say, like, to force this upon Black, owners?
Well,
but at the same time, black owners should know where they came from, and they should be willing and want to pour back into their community, no matter where their business open up. They could probably from, Brooklyn, New York, and move to Atlanta, but still provide for communities around where they're locally standing and taking care of, where they came from and pouring back into that community as well. If the business is thriving the way, they see it, and they have the financials to do something like that. That's my short answer.
I just think that, we don't hold white, Asian, Spanish, other cultures responsible when they're selling in a black community. But I also don't think that just because we don't hold them responsible doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold our black culture responsible, right? Because for one, I always hate this argument that, let's say you're a famous black person and you do something wrong in the public eye, and you're basically like the person that's like, dang, why did it have to be a black, like we always say, like, dang, was it a black person? Like why did it have to be a black person? Or why you had to do this? Because you're like messing it up for our culture. Because yes, right, a person should be able to make mistake. Of course, like, we're all human beings. However, as black people, we have a responsibility to each other, right? I know, like, come on, like, it's not fair, but no matter what, we're always seen as some specific stereotype, and it's super annoying. It's frustrating, but that's just how the world has made it out to be, right? And so for our black community, especially if we're labeling ourselves as a black-owned business, right? That already gives you the title of, I'm a black person, I own a business, and I should always be putting my interests into the black community because I gave myself this title of black-owned business. Mm-hmm. You're already telling the world that you're a black-owned business. And right now it's a whole hype that we need to support black businesses. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not directing your target market towards black people, the simple fact that you titled yourself as a black-owned business, black people are going to want to support you. Mm-hmm. And if black people are supporting you, we have the right, we meaning black people, black owners, black business people, should obligate ourselves, our businesses, right? Mm-hmm. Individually and business-wise, to our communities, whether it's in the community your business is in, but obviously focusing on a specific black community within that area, mm-hmm. or from where you came from. Because what is the point in labeling yourself that title, black business, mm-hmm. if you're not going to give back to your community, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't hold white people or white businesses at a specific standard,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. We just take what they're giving.
We use our profits, or let's say you're not even a black business and just as an individual, you have a very good job and you get paid well and you have that extra, income to purchase something, right? Our first thing is to purchase a luxury bag, or mm-hmm. that's not even
a black owned,
right? Or like, even if it's not luxury, but like a small business that we don't invest in our communities. We don't say, listen, this teacher, we know this teacher in this specific, school that is not
getting the funding that she needs.
Right. But she's staying back. Like, she's putting in the extra work, even though she's not getting paid for it. Why don't we invest in that teacher, right? To do the things that she's doing, but now actually funding her, like these small things make that teacher can touch a whole bunch of kids' lives, mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it just keeps passing on. Of course, we know not every single person in the Black community chooses the right choices, right? But that's everyone in the world. We're all human, going back to humanity, right?
Yes.
We're all humans. But however, when it comes to the Black culture, just Black people in general, we're not really being invested in, right? It's such a huge gap. And even if you're like a business that make multi-millions of dollars, right? To even get to that point, it was still a huge gap for you to even get there. Yeah. And even if you're at $1 million, you still have a long way to go, because again, now to even have like the experience now to manage this money, right? There's still a gap when it comes to a white business. However, for me, I just feel like when you see the few successes, right, on YouTube, on Instagram, or the news, or wherever, Forbes, you know, it's like, you look at their closet, what's in their closet, right?
It's just, well, quote unquote luxury brand.
Right. And it's all non-Black. And it's so crazy because there's this documentary on YouTube, and it's about wealthy Black people in America. And they don't really dive really deep into each individual, but I think they focus on 4 main people. And there's one lady, she's I believe she lives in Chicago, but I could be wrong with the city. But she basically used to buy a lot of luxury items, and something clicked in her head. She's like, I'm at this specific level in life, right? Status in life. And she decided that she wanted to advocate for Black businesses. So like she literally goes out her way to go like to a Black nail salon, buy Black clothes. Like she literally took everything out of her closet and gradually changed it, and it's all Black owned. Her shoes, her clothes, everything.
Amazing.
And even like having her kids, like she's passed it on to her kids, like, and her kids are still like, one is in like high school and, you know, like a little bit younger.
Yeah, they figured it out early.
Yeah, she's passing it on to them. Like this is what we need to do. And like she's at everything, like from hair products, everything. Like she's even like advocating in like her local offices, you know, to help the community. And it's just like, wow, that's beautiful. Like if we can all just do that, like, do you know how, like, and I know, of course, there's always going to be the argument of like,
how powerful.
Well, we did do this stuff in the past and look what happened. They burned us down, blah, blah. But doesn't mean that we have to stop. Like we have to keep going.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to me, it just frustrates me every time I see like a business or a person, an owner of a successful Black business, and then they're just like showing off their luxury items that's like a European person owned. And I'm just like, dang, like, why is this our prize, like our trophy? Like,
why is
I get rich,
trend?
this is what I'm buying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, like my expectations for myself, right?
Yeah.
And for us is to like give back to our communities.
That's big for me.
Yeah. Like, yes, of course, like we're going to purchase things to elevate us, but we're doing it in a way that's
tasteful, supportive.
Yeah. Like,
and carrying the community.
Right. And for me, like, my lifestyle is not to buy luxury items, because first things first, luxury items are it's not degrading. It's taking advantage of animals. Obviously, they're using crocodile skins and all these animals to make these specific bags. So for me, I'm not a person who would be attracted to that anyway, that type of stuff.
So you just repurpose whatever is already made. Right.
You can repurpose or thrift or whatever. But for me, like, I'm not looking to go out and thrift a luxury Louis Vuitton item, right? Like, that's not my thing. Yeah. So for me, like, it wouldn't look like that. For me, it would be like investing in like sustainable items, right? But like, I would really like search out what Black owned business is sustainable and like, you know, like making these things for me and my lifestyle, right? So that's one of the ways that I would put back into our Black community, right? And circulating the money into these businesses. And then even in terms of like giving back to like specific schools or making a fund or making like, you know, one of my goals, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
What my
either.
personal goal
like, hold up.
and long-term goal is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I just want for us, like when we get to that level, like you're not going to see us out here like doting around.
You're going to see me fly though.
Jeffrey wants to be fly. That has always been his personality. My personality has never been like to be like, I always want to look cute.
Yeah, that's being
I guess
fly.
that's being fly, but it's not, how to explain it? Like,
not the luxurious brandy stuff. That's what you talking about? Like doing it like how, because we do it in a different way. It's tasteful. I'm not big on logos, you know? So that's the thing. My style is not like big Gucci print shirts and all of that stuff. Nah. Even my Gucci hoodie, that wasn't a Gucci hoodie. It was an oxymoron to, you know, remember when I used to rock that hoodie? Gold across when they used the materials.
I just think that flaunting of items, like you can be successful and rich and be rich without flaunting these items.
Exactly.
Right? And so I'm not judging anyone. I just want it to be clear.
Yeah, and if that's your way of,
expressing yourself, that's totally fine.
So.
Like I'm not judging, but what I do want is for like be luxurious within our community as well.
Yes.
Like if you were dying for if you were dying for a Louis Vuitton bag and that is your thing, then go ahead. But in the same token, I feel like it should be balanced out with like, okay, like a Telfar bag, you know what I mean? Or like a Brandon Blackwood bag, you know what I mean?
Original T-shirt instead of
Right.
Billionaire Boys Club.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. Like you have an equal balance of like your community, but also because these people are just going to keep getting richer. Right.
Yeah, pretty
but
much.
what about our culture? Like, are we getting richer in this community? No. Like, who are we bringing? Because let's say you die, God forbid you die, right? Not you, but just like in general, like whoever owns this successful Black business dies. Like, who is this business passing on to? And then this could also like lead into like just not even just businesses, but just like who are you working for, right? And are they giving back to your community? Are they telling you, yeah, let's celebrate this history, or you know, making sure that we're acknowledging, you know, Black people and Black culture, but then they're not hiring. Okay, I'm kind of talking in circles, but let me give you an example. So I was watching a YouTube video of this girl. She was going to Essence Fest with her
Essence is
agency.
Essence is a Black-owned magazine.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's
not
even Black-owned anymore.
But I'm just saying
because they sold it.
The highlight
of the magazine is Black-owned, but I don't think their parent company is Black-owned anymore.
Okay, and
so they have a festival every year, and it's called like AuntieCon. So this is just for a reference to anyone who does not know or is not part of the Black culture. Been around for years. But pretty much it hasn't been happening because of, you know, what happened in 2020, 2021. So now 2022, it's the first one since 2019. And so this girl that I don't really watch her on YouTube, but it's just once in a while. So like her management company, or I guess social media agency, got hired to do this event or go to an event at Essence Fest, but it was completely separate, right? But they also got invited to do like the concert as well.
Got it.
But this was a Pandora collab, and so Pandora paid for them to go to, I guess, to a hotel, and also give them jewelry. And like, they're going to be recording them experiencing Essence Fest, but also wearing the jewelry. So as we know, Essence Fest is a Black event, right?
Yes.
They hired this Black social media agency that has a Black social media influencers.
Yes.
Right? And so when you look at her vlog, she's vlogging, and then, she set the camera down to kind of show like behind the scenes of the event, or not the little
filming.
It's filming, but it's fake. It's like Pandora made this little kind of like a bar scene, but like they're having fun, but they're really having fun because they know each other, right? The girls, it's like 4 girls, they know each other. And so while she's filming behind the scenes, you can see her agency also filming, right, to capture for their stories, to show what they're doing. But also Pandora's there recording them experiencing this event and their jewelry.
Yeah.
But Pandora now coming to a Black festival, right, hiring Black influencers, their production that is filming this whole thing is not Black. And for me, I was just taken aback just because of, let's be real, so you hired this agency, you did all of this to come to a Black festival, but then the people that's filming these Black influencers are not Black, right? And it's no shade to white people, but it's just kind of like, huh? Let's go to Coachella. Let's see the Pandora influencers. Let's see who's filming. It's still white people. So what is the point? It's like, yes, I'm going to, celebrate Black influencers at this Black event, but then I'm going to hire a production company that's not Black. And it's the same, when it comes to just a smaller group of production, right? You, as a Black person, if you have a production company, right? And not to say you have to be biased and just be like, oh, I'm only hiring Black people or whatever.
Yeah.
And not basing it off of talent, right? I get that. You want to base your people who work for you based on talent.
Yep.
But let's be real. A lot of Black people that are interested in production, like lighting or whatever the terms are, you would know better than me.
Yeah, I would know, yes.
Why is it that you're not giving those people a chance, those Black people a chance, right? Because the first things first, when you look at someone that you are inspired by, and I see Jeffrey say this all the time, dang, you see somebody you've been inspired by, and then you look at their team and it's no Black people. So you're the person in charge, and then you hire a whole bunch of different people that are not Black. So you're telling me you had no option? Because let's be real, the people that don't get the chances, that don't get the opportunities are Black people.
Yeah, Black.
You know what I mean? So
Latino,
if you know you could
Latinas.
reach out and you the connections that you made, people probably DMing you, reaching out to you, give them a chance. Why is it that we just can't do that once we make it up to a certain level, right?
Yes.
Is it because we feel well, I need to keep a specific stature, this person may not give me, the kind of vibe that I'm trying to go for, and I want to be taken more serious. Because let's be real, some of us, we feel okay, I need to hire white people because I'll be taken more seriously. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just feel why is that?
And for me, I don't ever plan on, my team is going to be predominantly Black. So that's all I got to say.
I just feel it's when it comes to when you see, it's like the show Friends. This is a perfect example. No point in that show, right? And especially it was based in the 90s, right? That is literally how the world is. They don't think about inclusion, right? And they see nothing wrong with that. But once you want to just be I'm just only hiring Black people, it's oh, you're being you're not, it's you're doing the opposite, like racism, but like the opposite. So like, oh, I'm just not going to hire white people, you know, and that's
which sucks.
wrong.
Which sucks.
And it's like, why do I have to think like that? Because let's be real, we're like an like last resort, like option, right? The whole cast of Friends was white.
Yeah.
Right? No option for black people. And let's be real, like most white people have no type of interactions with black people unless like
they have to in the workplace.
Yeah, they have to in the workplace, or even like if you're just like let's say you're like the one black person in a school full of white people, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's the only thing.
That's the only thing.
A black person outcast and
yeah, and they have no choice but to be friends with white people because they have no other black person to be with. And then at that point, they're just so consumed with just being with white people that now when they're with black people, it's like it can be kind of awkward, right?
Yeah.
Because your whole, let's say, high school has been this experience, and then let's say you decide to go to like an all black college, it's like a totally different type of experience. Shift, and honestly, for me, I just wish that we could just all be humans and just not think about, oh, you're dark, you're white, you're pink, you're purple. I honestly wish that could just happen, but that is not the world that we live in. And it's like, it's not scary. It's just so annoying. It's just so annoying because black people really got to be putting on a front. Like we got to switch it on. We got to switch it off. Yeah. You know? And I just feel like, again, coming back to like black owned business, like, yo, we really have to set that bar.
Yeah.
And
to let people know.
Like,
that it's possible.
Yeah, like it's possible, and like
don't fall into the trends.
Yeah, and I just feel like I feel like this is where you kind of like you like us. I'm gonna say us. We can be our authentic self when we get to that bar, like $1 million bar, right? Of selling our products and stuff like that. And then hiring people and letting them see like, yo, like they really give back to their community, right? Inspiring that person that works for us to start their own business and be like, no, I'm doing it exactly like the Vernas do it. Like the same way they just hired a black, showed us the ropes, and then, I'm going to pass it on. Like, it doesn't matter how long I take, I'm still going to pass on this knowledge that they taught me. Or like, just like the kindness that they showed to like, you know, like I don't have a degree, but I'm very passionate about this, you know, whatever it is. Right. And the fact that they gave me a chance, like I'm passing it on. There was even an episode on Girlfriends. William, his dad was like, how you got to be the best. You got to be the best. And then when you're the best, you're able to, you know, make those decisions, make those moves, right? And you could bring in a black person and show them the ropes at the law firm, right? And I was like, that's exactly it. Like you become the best out of these people where you get to a position where you can now bring in the next black person, and that black person can bring in the next black, like, you know what I mean? Like
keep on pulling us up.
Yeah, because that's the only way we can have like a minuscule of like, like be a competition, because it's like,
there's a lot of time to make up for.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's so many things that we don't think about, that we don't even realize that influences us from becoming successful. Just being black alone, like it stops us from so many things, that if you become a person of some type of stature, you don't know how many people you can help. And I just wish that like we could just continue to do it. Like even Diddy, like making people look like his own black people walk the bridge to get him some cheesecake. Like, dude.
I don't care. Yeah.
Like, you know how many successful bands you could have had? Like, they probably could have been doing tours right now, like reunion tours. Like Danity Kane, like, you know, like him alone, like so many influential people, he had the opportunity to mold and grow and just show them the ropes and not jip them out of their
Yeah,
sorry,
for
drip
TV.
is not a good word, but like, you know, manipulate them just for TV and for his fame. Like we could have had so many successful R&B singers.
But yeah, then again, those individuals signed up for that too. So
Yeah, they did sign up for it, but let's be real. Honestly, like he's the one with the power.
Yeah, that
you know
is
what I
true.
mean? And just for you to shame people and obviously I don't know everything that goes hand in hand, but obviously we just know what we see on TV, right? But it's just like, that's just one instance, a person of that much power and magnitude to make so many careers.
Yeah.
These people were talented. It wasn't like they couldn't sing or couldn't rap.
Yeah.
They were talented. They were on TRL. They were on so many shows, you know, 106 in Park.
yeah,
Their music, their one successful songs, like, you know, even what's that group they used to sing all the time?
Day 26.
Day 26. Like so many people that they could have, you know, influenced. And then those people, because they had such a good career, could have then passed it on and showed them the ropes. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we just let it all go. Just for what? For money, for fame? Like, you're not going to die with this. Yeah, your kids may, when you die, your kids may have this money and somewhat of a power, but let's be real. Like, all you're just doing is just continuing the nepotism for years to come. Your kids just have money and they're going to pass it on. Then they're in the industry. Are they just following the same lead that you're doing? Like manipulating people? Like, what are we doing? You know, and I'm not just saying it's just Black people, because this can really,
This
can go
happens
out to every single
of,
culture. But for us, like, we really have to do better. Like, we really have, in terms of just even just business, right? Just for us. And these are the conversations that we're always having, like Jeffrey and I. And I'm just like, and I think, and I always tell him, like, I feel like sometimes I'm just, and I don't think it's a bad thing for me, but I just think that sometimes I just think so much, so deep into all these things. Like, I can go down a rabbit hole, and I feel like it, you know, it can prevent you from, prevent us from being successful, because we even had a topic of like, oh, we're too ethical for the internet, right? And it's just like that. It's like people just do whatever it is just to become famous. But for me, honestly, I just can't lose my soul. And one of my biggest thing is that knowing that I can be comfortable in my skin, in the person I am, my kids, right? The impression that I make on them is going to mold them into the humans that they're going to be in the future, right?
Yes.
And, you know, when our business does become successful, our kids can look and see like, yo, like my parents, this is like, even if they don't want to be part of our business, but like just knowing whatever career they go into, they hold the same morals and same ethics in terms of treating people
with
respect, you know, and just always being true to themselves and honest. Like you don't have to like do certain things just to become rich and famous, or you don't have to just do certain things just to be successful, because in the end, it still hurts all of us as human beings.
Exactly.
You know? And I feel like this was just me rambling.
No.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like this is a conversation I can talk about a lot.
Yeah.
It can go even deeper, but I just feel like I thought it was just so interesting, because I even sent Jeffrey this video, but it was this girl. I like to watch a lot of video essays, and she was also talking. Her channel is Tiana. I should just shout out her channel. It's not Tiana. Her name is Tiana. She changed her YouTube to Fab Socialism, and she does a lot of video essays, and that was one of the topics she spoke about, but it was more so of a documentary on another business, a Black owned business, and just like all the things that I would talk to Jeffrey. And I think we had this conversation like before I even watched this video. And then I was watching the video and I had to stop it and send him the link to watch it, because I was like, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, it was like so refreshing to hear someone of like, you know, that has a lot of followers and subscribers now expressing the same thing that I've been feeling and, and been discussing with him, because it just makes me realize, like, every time I see something like that, like just someone saying something that I was just talking to Jeffrey about, it just makes me feel like God is like, hey, Crystal, you see what you're thinking, what your thought processes you're having. It's good. It's
you're on path.
You're on path, right? And so I just was like so like intrigued and just like, wow, like this is exactly like what I've been saying.
Yeah.
And I just hope that there's more people out there, right? Because obviously we don't know every single person in the world, every single Black person, we don't know them. So maybe, hopefully I'm praying that there's other Black people who are feeling, or Black business owners, or whatever industry you're in, feels the same way, because with social media and, the negative always outweighing the positive,
it's time for that shift.
You could lose sight, and you could feel like you're alone with wanting change. But it was just like, wow, like, okay, cool. Like, there's hope. There's hope out there.
Yeah. The question.
So, I have a question, and I'm also going to leave it in a poll. Like, what is your standard for a Black-owned business? Like, to be specific, I want you to like tell us, like, should they be like, what percentage should be Black-owned? Like, should it be 50% or 30%? Yeah, right. It depends on like if it's a group of people who own the business, and depending on how many Black people, like what percentage should be to qualify as a Black-owned business. 2, should that business be directing their products to only Black people, like that's their target market? Or could it be like, variations of people, like meaning like it could just be all women, right? The target is for all women, doesn't matter what ethnicity they are. What should be the standard in terms of how should they reinvest their profits, right? Of course, we know we all want to buy certain things when we reach a certain status, like, but how should they also serve their community, like specifically the Black-owned community? Should they reinvest into their communities, or should it just be free for all? Like they could just do whatever they want because it's their money. They worked hard for it or whatever. And there's no wrong answer. We just want to know, like, what are your thoughts? And then lastly, like, do you expect a Black business to be ethical or moral, even if the law says, oh, it's fine to do this, right? But as we all know, just because something is law doesn't mean that it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so we just want to know, like, yeah, technically, they did follow the law, but honestly, it's not ethical. It's not moral. Hopefully you guys know what I mean, because my brain is like wired. But like basically, like, do you think they should still be ethical or moral? Do you think that they should just always do what's right, right? And we know when something's right and when something's wrong. But like, should we always do what's right? And because even though like other businesses aren't,
doing the right thing,
the right thing, yeah. And I know, like, depending on where you're listening, you can't really leave comments. But if you're on Spotify, you will have the option to answer the polls.
And if you're on Anchor, you could send us a voicemail, voice note.
So, if you can do a voice note, that would be really fun.
Yeah, we could probably add it to the episode if you guys approve of it. And
you can also leave it on Instagram. Just Chilling with JK, the same way it's spelled on for our podcast is our Instagram name. Or if you want to just leave it on one of our videos on YouTube, it's JK and AND Counting.
Yeah, just
COUNTING on Instagram and on YouTube.
Yeah.
Whichever one you prefer, you could just leave it and we will just add it in to this podcast. It doesn't matter if it had no relevance to our videos. It's okay. You could just leave it on there. Because we would really like to know. This is such an interesting topic because it's always not changing in my views, but just seeing different industries and like learning about different businesses and just knowing what they're doing and like, my reactions to it. I just love discussing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, if we can scale our business the way we are to be ethical, I think the people with the funding can do it too, because we don't have the funding to scale the way we want to, at how large we want to, but we still keeping in mind how we can, be nice to Earth and
maybe
stuff like
we
that.
should explain how we do that, or should we just do that in another episode since this is so long?
We'll talk about it in another episode.
Another episode we'll talk about how even at a small scale we are being ethical with our business, because we just mentioned a whole bunch of different other businesses, but we didn't really like dive deep into like how we're trying to be, or not trying, we are being ethical and moral and following the laws.
Yes, and see you guys in the next one.
Feel the love. You can support us by
shopping
lastingeverafter.com.